Hi there, Brian here. It's Wednesday and it's quite cold outside, and while I'm still wearing good work clothes, I thought I'd talk to you briefly about the relationship of structure to function. It's not really a well understood concept in the body, but it's certainly understood in engineering and a building. There's no way that a building will stand safely and permanently if it doesn't have strong foundations and good structure internally or externally. It depends on the design of the building. Many tall buildings rely on a lot of internal structural support through things like the lift shaft. So they are right at the core of the building, and then they provide a central core to the building's stability. And then the other components sit around that of the floors and if you like, the frame of the building. The cladding, they're often clad in glass, and obviously glass isn't going to be structurally significant. It's really just hanging on the outside of the building. If we compared that to our body, we might see that the spine is rather like the lift shaft, and other areas of the body will be structurally important. So the ribs are structurally important, they protect, but they also create some leverage and anchor points for the limbs, for the arms, the upper body, and the pelvis is a stability platform for the trunk to sit on, and an interface for the legs to actually plug into the pelvis via the hip joints and actually provide locomotion and keep your hips and your backside off the ground. The leg muscles, which anchor to the hips on one end and above and below the knee at the other end, they actually provide your locomotion. Now, without the bones, obviously you'd have no propulsion because you'd have nothing for the bones to pull against, and that's why good quality movement is very important for bone strength and health. So for all of us, quality movement and gravity is really important for bone health. The body is economical and clever. It was the first Toyota Prius. And so it is all about economical use of resources. The bones are only as strong as they need to be. That's Wolff's law. It says that the bone is only as dense as it needs to be for the jobs that it's given. So if you don't move much and you're very light, the bones are not going to be as strong as if you move a lot. And they'll be stronger again if you move things through space, so you weight bear. So you might be carrying shopping, you could be shoveling dirt, you could be doing all sorts of tasks where the muscles are pulling strongly on the bones to create movement, and that will make the bones as strong as they need to be. Perfect curves of the spine, so that neck curve, the back curve and the lumbar curve, they are, when they're ideal, the distribution of the weight through the 27 spinal bones is equal relative to their height. So C1 to the top of the neck here, they aren't going to carry as much weight as the lumbar right down low, because that's got the whole pack of cards on top of it. So when the curves are out of balance, you'll get an increased load in one area of the spine and less load on another. So one bone will be stronger than another, and you may well see that on X-ray as one being whiter than another. A bone density scan might also show that up. Now, if we move in gravity and we eat well, so we're creating matrix for the bone, which is collagen, and then we mineralize it with calcium principally. The kidneys are the main driver. They keep the calcium in the blood, and the bones are two things. They provide stability and structure, and protection, but they're also the bank of calcium, and calcium is one of the main ions or molecules that the body uses to flex muscles. So the calcium is constantly on the move in and out of the bones, and so therefore, as it's always on the move, the body's going to return it to the bones that do the most work and keep it away from the bones that don't do as much or any work. So it's important for your bone health that your curves are evenly distributed, the weight's evenly distributed through the curves, and the curves are as close to ideal as can be, so that the strength of the bones is balanced and even, and you don't create a bone injury when you are suddenly loading a bone in a way and at a level that it doesn't commonly get loaded in ordinary day life. So you might slip and load something or bend and lift something unusually heavy, and a bone that never does as much work in your normal life suddenly gets overloaded and it may fail. And they're more common in people that are quite young, when the bones are not as strong, and people who are older, as the bone mass might decline because they just aren't as active. There are other factors such as hormone levels, but all things being equal, if you're active and physically loading your body, your bones will be way stronger than if you're inactive. There are a number of other things, high fat, high sugar diets, not high fat, high carbohydrate, high sugar diets actually will have a factor in reducing bone density, because the body uses the calcium as a buffer to the acidity of the sugar and the high carbohydrate levels in the blood. So if you've got high blood glucose, you're more likely to have low bone density relative to another person of the same build with normal blood sugars. So it's all really interesting, and there is a video series I want to put together which will be available through a portal. There'll probably be a purchase, because there'll be quite a bit of work for me to do to put it together, but in terms of you having an understanding of your body and how it works, I can see when I'm working with clients that there's this real gap in the knowledge base between how the body really works and how they have been told it works or how they assume it works. And that often means that there's a disconnect between what we believe we need to do to help them get better and what they think that they might need because of what the general understanding is out in the public area. So my job is to fill the gaps and ensure that you have a much better and much more holistic understanding of how your body really works, so that we can decode those areas that seem to be mystified and hidden in some sort of mystery. And if we can crack that code and make it logical, then your choices and actions are going to be far more in keeping with how the body really works as a structure that moves in gravity. I'm going to stop here, and I'll look forward to catching up with you soon. You have a good evening. All the best. Bye.